Hey everyone, hello, how are we all doing? Sorry, a few moments late there on what I said. Right, I'm just going to give you a few seconds to hop on, and then you can see that I'm here. And whilst I'm doing that, let me just check to see that everything's working. Facebook Live's been playing up for me this week. I don't know what's been going on. Right then, who's here? I can see people watching. 1, 2, 3. Here you all are. Cool. Right then, so can you hear me okay? Just give me some thumbs and let me know that you can hear me. Looks like it so far. Yay, Heather's here. Laurie's here. Hi everyone. Right, we're going to have a conversation today about weight loss and why it's not necessarily what you think you want right now. Karen's here. Hi, Karen. Oh, look at all the love coming tonight. I like it a lot. You'll probably notice my voice is now almost 100% better. I completely lost my voice last week, which was a nightmare, but everything seems back to normal. So then, should we make a start? So, 3 reasons why weight loss is not actually going to help you with your food and weight struggles right now. This is a topic that keeps coming up for some of my clients, and I really just want to help people realise that this is not the focus of what I would love you to start focusing on. So very, very brief introductions for any of you that have randomly found this video right now. First of all, welcome. My name's Rachel Foy, and I'm a food and soul freedom intuitive, and I basically help incredible women start breaking free from that dysfunctional cycle of dieting, weight obsession, binging, emotional eating, and everything and anything in between, to get to that place of actually finding their freedom from a soul point of view and also from a food point of view. So that's who I am. So if you've never caught me before, it's lovely to have you here. So hello and welcome. Nicola's here. Hello, how are you doing, gorgeous? Nice to see you. No, see you, as in here. Right then, so let's make a start now. For any of you right now, I'm going to put my computer down because Facebook's working and I can see all your comments underneath today, which is fabulous. Sarah's here. Hello, Sarah. I want to have a quick chat with you about weight loss, because in the work that I do with my wonderful ladies, weight loss is not our goal. In fact, I'm not a weight loss coach. I'm completely weight neutral. I've got no interest in helping anybody lose weight. That's not my intention. That's not what I help people with. If that's someone's only goal of what they want to achieve out of perhaps working with me, then I will tell them straight that that's not what I'm here to do, because it's not. However, I do also appreciate that so many women have got this belief right now that if only they could lose a little bit of weight, life would suddenly be 10 times better. It might not even be 10 times better. It might just be a little bit better. So those of you that are watching right now, whether you're watching me live or perhaps on replay, how many of you can relate to that? So give me some thumbs or give me a little heart if you want to. How many of you think that weight loss is actually what you feel like you need right now in order to fix and solve everything? In order for you to maybe feel better about life, about yourself, it's the thing that you feel like is missing. Oh my goodness, look at all those hearts coming across. Okay, I was expecting that, but even so, it's kind of like, oh, okay, we do need to have a chat. Now, taking a deep breath. The reason why we become so fixated on weight loss being our solution is, well, it's so multidimensional, and I want to try and keep this as simple as possible. Yes, all the time, says Heather. Yeah, when I was at the peak of my messed up relationship with food, which was for about 14 years, I was a chronic dieter. I was food and weight obsessed. I used to jump from one diet wagon onto the next and usually fall off in between. I was constantly searching for this elusive place of weight loss, slimness. I had so many beliefs attached to when I was a certain size or a certain number on the scale, or my clothes were a certain size, that life would suddenly be better. And I honestly had this fundamental belief that that was what I needed. That when I dropped that weight and when I'd lost that weight and when I'd achieved this certain size and shape, that everything would be fine then. I could be a normal eater. I wouldn't need to stress about food. I wouldn't need to be so wrapped up in terms of what I should be doing and how I should be eating, because then I'd be slim and I would have lost the weight and life would be okay. And I know for a fact that most of you probably think that as well, okay? So the very first thing that I want to bring to your attention, especially actually if you're quite new to this message that I put out there in that big wide world of ours, is and I'm going to be completely honest here in terms of my personal experience and also that of my amazing clients. Despite what you think right now, weight loss will not make you happy. And I know that for some of you, you probably hear me say that and go, oh, that's not true. I just know. I know that if I was £5 lighter, £10 lighter, if I was a size, whatever it might be for you, I would be happy. And I hate to burst your bubble, but it's not ever going to be that way. And do you want me to tell you why? Because when we actually chase this elusive dream or this elusive goal of being a certain size and a certain shape, we do have so many beliefs that are fixated on that particular outcome. And one of the biggest ones is that we feel like, or rather we choose to believe, that slimness equals happiness. As Heather said, looking at slim people all the time, wishing I hadn't let my control loose. Right, so if you think about society for a moment, and I don't want to kind of get on my soapbox now and start ranting and raving about the sociological implications and the sociological pressures about how we as women are supposed to look, but there's a massive element involved with this. If you think right now in terms of what you believe to be true, I'm going to guess that you believe that slimness equals happiness, that slimness equals better relationships, that slimness equals success, slimness equals money, slimness equals this, slimness equals that. How many of you have got those beliefs? Give me some thumbs or some hearts. We have so many beliefs. Okay, there we go. Look at all those thumbs. Oh my goodness. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. See what I mean? We have so many beliefs that are actually quite deep-seated beliefs that slimness is the thing that when we achieve it and we get to it, everything's going to be okay. Now, again, I don't want to get onto my soapbox and start ranting about this because that's not what I want to focus on today, but there are some videos on my page, if you go to the videos, all about the diet industry and how actually the diet culture has brainwashed us to start believing these things. So going back to what I just said before, the very first thing that I just want to bring to your attention is, despite what you think right now, losing weight's not going to make you happy, and I want to give you the main reason why. If you think about your situation right now, in terms of how you feel about yourself and how you feel about your body and therefore your desire to want to lose weight, what is actually underneath all of that? Like, what is underneath? What is the foundational belief that you have about yourself that is fueling you in your head to go, I just want to be £10 lighter. I just want to be slimmer. Does anybody want to share? And I know that this is quite a personal thing. Start reading magazines now and TV programs. That's really helpful, actually, Heather. You know, be really selective about what you want to allow into your environment, especially when it comes to do with like body image. Okay. There isn't a single person watching this now or watching this on replay that has gone on a diet, and they have gone on a diet because they like themselves. Okay, every single one of us that becomes diet obsessed, weight fixated, we then start to fall into the realms of food obsession and weight obsession and calorie restriction and calorie counting. Every single one of us that has done that, we have always got that belief underneath us that we don't like ourselves and that we don't feel good enough. Okay, so in many ways, we have these beliefs that we actually don't like ourselves. Some of us would go so far as to say that we hate ourselves. And if that is true of you, then that's why you've ended up going down the diet route, the diet culture, because there's a part of you that's gone, I don't like who I am. And because I don't like who I am, I just need to slim down and I'm going to be happy. I don't like who I am. Kind of at the soul level, at the core of who I am, I don't like it. I'm going to just lose a bit of weight, slim down, and everything's going to be better. I'm going to feel more confident, more happy, more outgoing. This will happen, that will happen. Okay? So, I can see all the little hearts as I said that. So, that's the truth. Okay? There isn't a single one of you right now that's got this desire to lose weight and you actually like yourself. Because if you like yourself, you wouldn't even be watching this right now. Because you wouldn't give a crap what you weighed, you wouldn't be bothered about what the number was on the scale. Incidentally, if you do weigh yourself, please throw your scales away because that's got nothing to do with who you are as a person. Okay, right, I'm going to come to the obese question because a few of you have asked me that. Can someone remind me, please? I've got my pen. Let me see if I can grab my pen. Let me write that down because I'm bound to forget, and I'll come to it in a sec. Okay, what I'm still saying, by the way, Sarah, still is applicable for that, and I want to give you an explanation as to why. Okay, so we're saying that our belief systems about us not being good enough and not liking ourselves, that is fundamentally driving us to believe that we need to lose weight. It was for me. I didn't like myself. There were moments when I was so messed up with food and exercise obsession and weight obsession that I fundamentally, at the very core of my being, I hated myself. And I somehow had ended up wiring my mind to believe that it was all to do with the fact that my body looked how she did, that I had cellulite, that I had wobbly bits, that I didn't look like those women in those magazines that I kept buying and making myself feel crap by reading. So what I needed to do was to just lose that weight, get rid of my cellulite, tone my stomach, and everything would be fine. And I tried to do that for 14 years. Now, the thing is, when we have this overwhelming belief that slimness equals happiness, and we spend however long trying to chase that destination, I promise you, hand on heart, that even if you ever got to that place of being slim, or whatever it might be for you, if those beliefs have never been addressed and worked on, I promise you that your body might change, but how you feel about yourself won't do. And I know that might be a little bit, I don't quite know whether that's true. Okay, but there's a lot of thumbs and there's a lot of hearts that maybe some of you have experienced that. When we have these external desires, I'm going to kind of call it that we believe that when we lose weight, we are going to feel happier about ourselves. That is being fueled by this belief system that we have that we don't like ourselves, that we're not good enough, that we therefore need to lose weight. And even if you were to do something to get to that magic place of being slim and having lost your 10 pounds or having lost your 1 or 2 dress sizes, I promise you, if you have not worked on those internal, those core beliefs about yourself, your body might change, but how you feel about you won't. And I've seen this time and time again. And in fact, I did this myself. You know, over that 14 years period, there were moments when my weight got to my ideal weight. And I'm going to say ideal in the sense of what I thought I wanted to be. And I did get there a few times by beating myself up and restricting and being exercise obsessed. But I still didn't like myself. You know, there were times when I was the size that I'd always dreamed of being. And I still woke up every morning and thought, oh God, I really don't like this, or I really don't like that. And I'd still beat myself up about stuff because fundamentally, deep within myself, those beliefs that I had about me had never been changed. Does that make sense? So I really want you to just have a think about what you believe to be true when it comes to weight loss and why you think weight loss is actually just the solution to everything, because it ain't. It's nothing to do with that. You know, our connection to our bodies is such an emotional and multidimensional topic that I could literally spend the next 24 hours live streaming to you just talking about this. I'm not though. Okay, I need to go to bed at some point today. I've been talking all day. However, those beliefs that we have, particularly around weight loss, I'm going to be honest, most of them are bullshit. They are completely and utterly bullshit. I didn't feel happy when I did bodybuilding, but now I wished I loved my body before, as now I'm even bigger due to the diet. Yeah, and it's quite interesting actually, Nicola, that you've said that, because I know that you're in like the fitness industry. I've worked with a few fitness models, obviously no names mentioned, but quite well-known ones. And these are people who, on the outside, have got the dream body. So they have got the physical appearance of what most diet-obsessed women dream to have, okay? And again, completely transparent and honest with you here, both of those women that I've had the pleasure of working with, even though on the outside they've had their dream bodies, on the inside they still don't like themselves, and they still don't quite feel good enough, and they still feel like they need to try harder, and they still feel like they need to be just tightening up their exercise regime, and they still feel like they need to be a little bit more restrictive on how they're choosing to eat their broccoli and steamed chicken every day. See what I'm saying? Because actually for them, even though their external appearance has changed, their inside hasn't. And this is something that I really want you to just think about. If nothing else, I want you to think about this, because when we are striving for weight loss, it's connected to belief. So what do you believe to be true? What do you believe is magically going to happen when you've dropped 10 pounds? What do you believe is magically going to appear in your life when you're a dress size smaller? What are you believing about all this stuff? Because I promise you, if you start stepping into your truth and you start stripping back those bullshit stories that you've been conditioned to believe by the diet industry, the diet culture, the Weight Watchers leaflets that come through our doors at certain times of the year, you're going to start realizing that actually you've bought into this belief system that is fundamentally inaccurate. In fact, it's not even fundamentally inaccurate. It's not even true. Confidence, says Karen. Same. Okay, confidence is a really interesting one actually, Karen, because that is something that most people that I speak to, when I say to them, why do you think you want to lose weight? Like, what's going to happen? And a lot of women will say, I'm just going to feel more confident about myself. Okay, so confidence is something that, from my experience, has got very little to do with an external appearance, to do with our bodies. It's an inside job. But again, most of us don't believe that. We believe it is to do with the size of our thighs and how flat our tummies are and how little cellulite we have around our bums. Confidence is an inside job, because there are so many women out there who have got lumps, bumps and wobbly bits, and they are absolutely working it. Like, they don't care. Like, they don't care if they're not perfect in terms of what society thinks they should look like, because they've tapped into this inner belief that they are worthy, they are good enough, they are desirable, they are lovable, they are amazing human beings. They have got this thing about them that, you know, they deserve to have a space in the world. And I think confidence is something that you really, again, start stripping back your belief about that. Because for every person that you say to me, oh, but she's really confident because she's slim, I will find you 10 people who are slim that I might be working with who actually are really messed up on the inside. Likewise, you might go, oh, she's really confident because she's a size 10 or a size 12 or whatever it might be for you in your head. And there are loads of people who are 16, 18, even bigger, who have got this confidence about them. And it's not fake, it's not put on. They're being genuine because that's who they are. So confidence is I know it's a really tricky conversation, because most of us have bought into this belief that confidence is connected to our bodies, and it's not. It's the other way around. They get lots of compliments and now they've stopped. I guess that's fat phobia. Yeah, I mean, fat phobia is real, Nicola. You know, that's something, again, just to have an awareness of, that we do, unfortunately, we do live in a fat phobic society where being fat, and I'm using fat purely as descriptive now, it's not at all judgmental, we have this fear around it. But again, where's that fear come from? It's come from media, it's come from society, it's come from the brainwashing of the diet culture. It's come from all these subliminal messages that we as women, we are exposed to whether we want to be or not. The TV adverts, the TV shows, everything that you see on social media, magazines that we pick up, conversations that you hear in, you know, mums at school, in playgrounds, people that you might have as work colleagues, friends, family. There's so much of it. But that's not to say that you have to buy into that. Just because you might be in the minority does not mean that you're wrong. Okay? Okay, that's the first reason. Weight loss does not equal happiness, because actually what we're trying to do there is we're trying to change our external appearance by believing that by doing so, our inside will change. And that's not what happens. It's actually not true. It's the other way around. We need to accept ourselves for who we are, the good bits, the bad bits, the wobbly bits, the light bits, the dark bits, the bits that we embrace, the bits that we don't embrace, because until we do that, honestly, we are going to find ourselves searching for happiness elsewhere all the time. And I've experienced that myself, and I see that so often with quite a lot of my clients. So that's just something to think about, okay? Right, the second reason, I had to make notes tonight. I was like, I'm trying to be so organised with how much I want to talk to you about tonight. Keep this really short, sweet, to the point. The second reason is actually to do with our emotions. So, emotional eating is real. How many of you would say that you are an emotional eater? Again, no judgment, purely just an observation. Let me know. How many emotional eaters have we got watching, either live or on replay? Yes. Oh my goodness, quite a few of you. Okay. Emotional eating, again, it's real. This is not to judge or to criticise, but this is something that I really want you, again, to just sit with and be aware of and reflect upon. the majority of us that recognise that we do turn to food emotionally. I did. I was a massive emotional eater. Again, something that was part of my journey of being food and weight obsessed. Emotional eating can be connected to diet thinking, though, just to throw that curveball in for you to have a think about. However, in this capacity, weight loss is not going to address any kind of dysfunctional relationship that you have to food right now. And what I mean by that is, how many of you believe that when you have just finally gotten to this dream place of a certain number or a certain size or a certain shape, that finally you're going to be okay with food and that you're going to be a normal eater? You're not going to have to stress about what to eat. You're not going to have to follow any crazy diet plans because you're never going to go back again. You're going to be okay and everything's fine and everything's perfect and all that kind of stuff that we buy into. Oh my gosh, look. Yes, okay. Right, there's something fundamentally flawed with this argument, because when we have this belief that when we get to this place of weight loss, our goal, our dream body, whatever we want to call it, we believe that when we get there, we're suddenly going to be a normal eater. Now, for any of you, and Heather's just said worse, so I'm guessing that Heather may have experienced this, as did I. For the majority of women that get to that elusive place of they are now the number they've always wanted to be, or they are the size they've always wanted to be, or they are the shape that they've always wanted to be, that actually, even though that's the place that they've always wanted to be, they've not suddenly now replaced all these dysfunctional relationships with food and all this messed up relationship with themselves, with like self-love and self-acceptance and, oh my God, I feel amazing, and yes, I've done it, this is a dream, this is where I've always wanted to be. Do you know what they've done? They generally replace it with fear and with anxiety and with panic of, oh my God, I can't go back there, of, oh my God, I'm petrified that I'm going to go back to where I was, or oh my God, I need to be really careful now with food because I don't want to undo all this really hard work that I've put in, and I can't come out this weekend, I'm sorry, I'm just trying to maintain this magic number, and yeah, sorry, I can't have that birthday cake because I'm trying to be really good, and the whole time their chest is pounding and they're feeling really anxious and they're in that place. And I know because I did. And I know that all my clients do. And I know that probably some of you watching have been there as well. Because weight loss is not the magic solution. Weight loss is not magically going to make all of your food obsession, weight obsession, body obsession suddenly disappear because you have reached the number that you've always wanted to be. If you ever get to that place, be prepared for panic. Be prepared for overwhelm. Be prepared for feeling absolutely shit scared that something's going to go wrong and you're going to end up binging and overeating and becoming even more out of control with food, because that is going to happen. Because in order for most of us to get to our dream number or our dream size or our dream shape, we have got to restrict. We have got to say no to things. We've got to turn our lives upside down. We've got to go to the gym 6 times a week. We've got to start saying no to stuff. We've got to basically wait on our weight. We can't do anything because we're so fixated on trying to get to this magic number. And even actually for some of you watching are maybe thinking, yeah, but I'm doing it, I'm on Weight Watchers or I'm doing Slimming World. It's not a diet, it's a lifestyle. It's this, it's that and the other. It's bullshit. It's a diet. You are restricting. You are still saying to yourself, I can't have this. I need to eat this way. I can't do this. And when you get to that magic number, what's going to happen? Then what? Now, something that never gets spoken about, and this is something that really does piss me off, particularly from the diet industry, particularly like the big ones. I'm going to use Weight Watchers and Slimming World because they are the 2 biggest ones here in the UK anyway. What happens when you get there? So many people say, oh, I just want to be 10 pound lighter. I just want to be a size this. I just want to be a size that. And when I am, I'm going to be happy. I'm going to be confident. Life's going to be great. I'm not going to be food obsessed. I'm never going to go back to how I was. I'm going to say no to this. I'm going to say no to that. Nobody ever says, so what happens then? What happens when you're suddenly a size 10? What happens when you suddenly got to the number on the scale? Then what? Then what do you do? What do you do? You freak out and you panic and you're like scared that it's all going to come back on again. And by that time you're so obsessed and you are so in diet mentality and you are so fixated on your calories and your sins and your points and measuring and weighing that you now are so far removed from your natural way of eating that you've now put yourselves in the realm of food dysfunction. And if you find yourself feeling out of control, the fear kicks in and that little diet voice in your head goes, oh my God, you're going to put the weight on. Oh my God, you need to stop. And then when you hear that, you go and eat even more because you're like, oh my God, I need to stop, but I can't stop. Yeah? So that's something that weight loss is never going to help you with. Losing weight is never going to help you get to that place of being a normal eater. If you want to be a binge eater, if you want to be a food obsessive, if you want to be weight obsessed, if you want to be struggling with emotional eating and with overeating and with calorie obsession and with all those things that are just so emotionally draining, do you know what the one thing is that you need to do? There's only one thing that you need to do. It's a 4-letter word. It's one of my loathed 4-letter words that I do say quite a lot. You need to diet. That's all you need to do. So if you are looking for food obsession, weight obsession, you want to become a binge eater, you want to become food obsessed, you want to start feeling really crap about yourself, then start dieting, start trying to get on that weight loss journey, start doing what you think you need to do, because I promise you, it's not going to help with the things that you think it's going to help with at the moment, okay? Right, wait a sec, there's some questions. What if weight's affecting your health? I'm going to come back to that one in a second. Rachel, when you said what if weight's affecting your health, if that's personally about you, well, maybe it's not. What do you mean by that? Because health is such a big, broad topic. Health is quite a bit of a trigger topic in this subject as well. If we've weight suppressed, you'll have to continue restricting to stay smaller and there's fear. Absolutely, Laurie. You know, the one thing as well, and I don't want to get onto soapbox, kind of a bit of a feminist issue now, but have you found it strange that women seem to be okay with wanting to take up less space in the world? Like we strive to be smaller. We strive to take up less space in the world, and I'm not okay with that. I'm so not okay with that. Diet industry, taking over. Yep, so I'll after that be thinner. Right then, so, right, let's move on to the third point. What was the third point I was going to say? Oh, yes, okay, so, third point. I'm going to come back to that question about being obese and the health thing, wasn't it? Right, the third reason why weight loss is not actually going to give you what you think it's going to give you right now is something that you may have heard me talk about quite a bit over the last couple of weeks. And it's this fascinating topic, subject, energetic, emotional connection to do with soul hunger. So, bear with me on this one. Let's use the example of, okay, so you come home from work and you've had a really shit day and you find yourself on the sofa, curled up in front of the TV, and you've got a family-sized bar of chocolate and you're just like, oh, I've had such a shit day, I'm just going to eat this chocolate. And that's something that you find yourself doing fairly regularly. Now, let's say that you are on the weight loss journey and you are, again, striving to get to this elusive place of a number or a size or a shape. And let's say that you get there. You still have a shit job, or rather you can still have days when you come home and you feel a bit shit, or you come home and you just feel a bit lonely, or you come home and you're a bit fed up, and you come home and this, you know, you feel this way or you feel that way. What then? Because this is something that we cannot ignore. It never gets spoken about in the diet industry for obvious reasons, because if it did, there would be no diet industry in existence. The reason why we become so obsessed about food, or not even obsessed, the reason why that we turn to food is because on some emotional level, we are trying to fill these voids, we're trying to fill these empty spaces, we're trying to fill these, what I call these soul hungers, like our soul is hungry for something. And it could be that we are feeling lonely, so we want comfort. It could be that we've had a shit day and we want to feel more relaxed. It could be that we're feeling really angry and we want to feel calm. But even if you're on this weight loss journey and you get to that place of weight loss, what then? What happens? Because there will still be all this emotional stuff, all this soul hunger stuff going on. So you're still going to have to put up with these emotional responses to the world that you're living in and to the life that you have right now. Now, the problem is that when you have, as we said previously, with point number 2, if you've gotten to your goal dream size and you're now living in this place of fear and panic and overwhelm and food obsession, and you have had a shit day and all you really want to do is have chocolate, but your head's going, I can't have chocolate because I'm shit scared I'm going to put weight on. So you don't have chocolate and you resist the chocolate, but then you know the chocolate's in the kitchen, and at some point you go, oh, sod it, I'm just going to have some chocolate, because actually that's what you're needing, because in that moment you've got this emotional thing coming up for you because of your job or because of a relationship or because you feel angry or because you feel scared of something, that's what you're doing. It's a coping strategy, and this is all about emotional eating. Diets don't address emotional eating, by the way. It can cause emotional eating, but the fundamental reasons why we turn to food emotionally, so for any other reason other than physical hunger, is because our soul is hungry for something. That we might be craving comfort, we might be craving safety, we might be craving security, we might be craving love, we might be craving calmness, relaxation. And all that stuff will still be there. Even if you get to this magic, elusive place of slimness, all this stuff is still there. So what do you do then? You're going to try and resist having the chocolate, which is likely to cause you to become more obsessed, which is likely to cause you to then go and get it and to then eat it and then feel guilty and then binge. And at some point, your weight loss is going to start going back to where you started from, and then you're going to start all over. So that's the third reason why weight loss is never going to make you happy, because even though you think that your physical body is going to make you feel confident or more happy or more this or more that, there are still so many things within your world right now that, again, if you step into truth and you start thinking about, there are things right now that are not making you feel happy or satisfied, actually. So if you don't feel satisfied by certain areas of your life right now, they're still going to be there, even if your weight changes, even if your body changes. And it could be a job, it could be relationships, it could be family stuff, it could be finances, it could be health, it could be anything. But these soul hungers will still be there. So yes, your weight might have changed. Yes, your body might have changed. Your size might have changed. Your shape might have changed. But all these things that your soul is still hungry for won't have changed. And then what do? Because the reason why we become so obsessed with food in the first place, or rather why we turn to food emotionally, is because we're trying to fill these hungers. We're trying to fill these empty spaces and these voids. So, combine the fact that they will still be there, and you're now in this place of fear and panic of, oh my God, what if I start to lose all control and the weight starts to go back on again? You have got a recipe there for binging and food obsession and weight obsession even more than what you may have done before. Does that make sense? Right, let me see what else I wanted to say. Any more questions? I'm going to come to you, Rachel. I have seen your question. Right, let me see. Right, what if weight's affecting your health was what Rachel asked. Okay, that made sense, cool. I mean, obesity, which means that you will regain your health, diabetes, heart failure, liver, etc. after losing all the weight. Right, the first thing that I want to recommend, if that's for you, Rachel, or if this is just a general topic, for any of you that, again, have got this belief that weight loss equals health, that ain't true either. And before any of you shoot me down and go, that's not true, of course it's true. But everybody tells us that, being a certain size or a shape's not good for our blood sugar and our heart and our livers and our this, that and the other. Grab yourself a copy of Health at Every Size by Linda Bacon, which is all about how our health is not connected to our weight, or rather, weight is not necessarily that significant in terms of a contributing factor to our health. Now, when it comes to, and you're using the word obesity, someone else about, well, what do we do? What if someone is like obese and they're like 20 plus stone? In that situation, and I've had clients that I've worked with that are typically, that they are medically diagnosed as being obese or morbidly obese. Not that I rely whatsoever on the BMI, that's another bullshit thing of the diet industry. However, if somebody is of a size whereby they are, suppose, health impaired to some degree, my focus with that individual is still not weight loss, and it will never be weight loss. And the reason being is because I truly believe that if somebody has gotten to a stage within their life that they are now so messed up when it comes to food and eating and body image and how they feel about themselves, for most people, by admission, they would probably also say, well, I do eat for comfort and I do have these, love-hate relationships with food, and sometimes I can overeat and then I try and restrict, and this rhythm of eating is completely gone. I would still not be working with that individual to lose weight from a health point of view, because actually what that person needs is extreme self-care, and they need to start busting through their bullshit stories that they are not worthy enough, and that they're not good enough, and that they are not lovable enough. And there's so many things that are often tangled in those kind of cases, and I've seen it time and time again. So, and this is something, again, that fundamentally within the medical profession drives me crazy, because somebody that is 20 stone, 30 stone, they're so big they can't get out of bed, that person doesn't need a fucking diet. That person does not need to go on a diet. That person does not actually need to slim down. What that person needs is to understand what's going on. Why are they in that situation? From a kindness, self-compassion point of view, from a connection point of view, from how they feel about themselves, what has happened to that individual within their story that they are now where they are right now. Because for most people that have gotten to such, and I'm using really extreme cases now, but when they've gotten to such extreme cases of obesity, it's not about the food. Food is purely symptomatic, symbolic, energetic, emotional. It's superficial. It's something that on the surface seems to be their problem, and it's not. Because we turn to food for comfort, emotion, love, security, safety. We turn to it to numb our feelings. We turn to it to make ourselves feel better. We turn to it as a distraction. We turn to it to stuff things down. Can you see where I'm going with this? So for me, even people that are medically, clinically, morbidly obese, they still don't need weight loss, and they certainly don't need a fucking diet. They need to learn how to be more compassionate and start listening to themselves and start understanding what has actually happened to get them to that place. And then they can start unraveling their story, and at some point their relationship with food will become more balanced and more rhythmic and more normal, and their body will reset itself. But weight loss is not the focus, and weight loss is not connected to health necessarily, okay? Love your prayer. Oh, thank you, Rachel. There was a lot of love there. Kind of felt like I got a bit ranty, but maybe ranty's good. There's, I think sometimes when we're talking about this topic, and I know a few of you are quite familiar to some of the things that I talk about because you're here quite often, which is fabulous. Thank you for the support. But for those of you that may be on, I know that this can seem like a bit of a minefield because we are so conditioned to believe that weight loss equals so many things. And it's not just, as we started saying, it's not just happiness. There's the whole argument about, oh, but weight loss is about health, and weight loss, I need to lose weight so that, I don't get diabetes, or I need to lose weight to make my heart better, or all these kind of things. And I just want to invite you to question the truth, because so many of us, we do just absorb this information and we never second guess it. We don't question it. We certainly don't often go off and research it until we have a reason to. This is your reason. Because if you are here right now, there is no such thing as coincidence. It's all synchronicity as far as I'm concerned. You were meant to be watching this. So if I have said something that has triggered you, or has made you go, or maybe it's made you feel quite emotional, or maybe it's even made you go, oh, I feel a bit annoyed that she said that because I don't agree with that. I want you to use this as an opportunity for you to start questioning your belief systems, because this is the only way that any of you are ever going to find your complete freedom from food and body image, is to start questioning what you believe to be true. Because when you can do that, and you can start to step back from your food story, and you can start to actually question all the stories and the beliefs and the conditioning that you've bought into over the years. And I'm not judging or criticizing, I'm not bashing any of you that have been on diets, because bloody hell I did, and I didn't know any different at the time, but now I do. So I want you to think about all this, rewatch it if you feel like you want to, reabsorb that information, and really just start to question. But the fundamental message of this video anyway is that weight loss is not the solution. I know you think it is right now, but I promise you it isn't. It's not going to help you feel happier. It's not going to help you feel better about yourself, because you are still relying on something on the outside to shift in order to make you feel better. And that ain't ever going to work. So if you've got some really deep-seated beliefs about who you are, then you really, really, really want to start spending your time and energy and your full commitment on working on the inside. Because when those things start to shift, you then start to step into this place of kind of accepting who you are a little bit more, and maybe start looking after yourself a little bit more, and maybe start listening to yourself a little bit more. That's when things start to shift. We're not focusing on weight loss. Weight loss is irrelevant. It's got nothing to do with what we think it has to do with. It's all to do with the diet industry. And on that note, if anyone of you's got any questions, please feel free to pop them in the comments, because I'm going to jump off in a second. But what day is it today? Tomorrow. I'm going to come back tomorrow. I'm not sure what topic I'm going to talk about. There's 1,000 in my head right now, but I'm going to choose something which I think you'll be quite interested to know a bit more about, and maybe ask some questions. But I will be here tomorrow. Oh, hang on, wait a second. What about if you want to run, then losing weight is going to help? Well, that depends on what your belief system is. Because at the moment, if you are you able? If this is a question for you, Karen, which I'm guessing it might be, you start with where you can. You know, there is nothing wrong with you actively wanting to run. There is nothing wrong with any of you actively wanting to move your body, exercise, whether it's running, whether it's going to the gym, whether it's swimming. But please, please, please make sure that your only reason to do that is all about pleasure and enjoyment and actually self-care. Because any kind of exercise that is connected to punishment and weight loss, or trying to modify or manipulate your body, it's going to backfire on you. So in terms of the running question, if you can run right now, then just do what you can and allow your body to do what she needs to do. But try not to focus on losing weight as being the thing you need to do in order to run better, if that makes sense. Maybe talk about exercise tomorrow. Let me have a think, or if any of you have got any suggestions, pop them in the comments and I'll see what I can do. Right, other than that, I'm going to go, but I will be back tomorrow at, I think it's 9 o'clock again. I did mention it somewhere, but I can't remember. But yeah, I'll be back tomorrow chatting about something else. And if any of you have ever got any suggestions on what you want to talk about, then please let me know. Send me a message, comment below, and we shall see what we can do. Okay, right. Thank you very much, ladies. It was a pleasure as always. Oh, please talk about exercise tomorrow, says Nicola. Okay, Nicola's request. Yes, exercise, says Heather. Okay, I can do that. I've got a memory like a sieve at the moment. I need to write all this down. I've got my 2 little children on half term, so I've had them 2 in the house today, screaming, playing, making noise, as children do. Exercise would be good. Cool. Right, let's do that then. Exercise tomorrow, 9 o'clock, same time, same place. Let's have a chat about it. Sounds like a plan. Right, ladies, it was lovely to spend some time with you. See you later. Bye.